The Indonesian jungle breathes a heavy, humid mist that clings to the emerald canopy like a burial shroud. Deep beneath this ancient soil, a secret was buried, promising a fortune that would eventually bring the global financial world to its knees. Imagine a single rock, grey and unassuming, cradled in the calloused hands of a man who knew how to lie to the earth itself. It was the spark of a golden fever that burned brighter and hotter than any before it. Thousands of miles away, in sterile boardrooms and bustling stock exchanges, numbers on a screen began a vertical climb toward the heavens. Men in expensive suits toasted to a miracle, unaware they were chasing a phantom born of pure greed. This is the story of Bre-X, the greatest mining fraud in history, where a handful of gold dust turned a penny stock into a multi-billion-dollar empire before vanishing into the dense, unforgiving shadows of the remote tropical wilderness. Part 1. The Architect of Fraud. In the early 90s, a geologist named Michael de Guzman wandered through the rugged terrain of Busang. He carried empty core samples, cylinders of worthless rock that held no promise of wealth until his sleight of hand intervened. Using gold shavings from local panners and melted-down jewelry, de Guzman began salting the earth. He meticulously sprinkled the dust into the samples, creating a glittering illusion of prosperity that would soon fool the most sophisticated geological experts. To cement the deception, he sought out laboratories with lax oversight and a lack of rigorous protocol. These facilities issued glowing reports, officially confirming massive concentrations of gold that suggested the richest deposit the modern world had ever seen. De Guzman partnered with geologist John Felderhoff and David Walsh, a Canadian businessman whose company, Bre-X, was struggling. Together, they announced their discovery to the world, claiming the site held over 70,000 tons of the precious metal. The financial world reacted with a primal hunger as Bre-X stock surged from 30 cents to over $280. Wealthy banks and ordinary families alike poured billions into the company, desperate for a piece of the Indonesian dream. Part 2. The Descent. As the hype reached a crescendo, the Indonesian government grew restless and suspicious of the foreign windfall. They demanded a partnership, bringing in independent mining giants to verify the claims and begin their own extensive testing of the Busang site. Tension hung in the air, thick and metallic, as the investigation narrowed. Suddenly, de Guzman's office was engulfed in flames, a mysterious fire that turned years of records and original samples into piles of blackened ash and drifting, grey smoke. When independent miners finally drilled their own holes, the silence was deafening. 38 core samples were pulled from the deep, dark earth, and every single one was barren. There was no gold in Busang. There never had been. In April 1997, as the walls closed in, the government summoned de Guzman for a final, high-stakes questioning. He boarded a helicopter, the blades cutting through the heavy air with a rhythmic, pulsing thud that signaled the end of his journey. Somewhere over the vast, impenetrable jungle, de Guzman reportedly opened the door and leaped into the abyss. He left behind a world in chaos, his body allegedly plummeting toward the green floor below, far from the reach of the law. Part 3. The Fallout. Search parties eventually discovered a body, but it was badly decomposed and scavenged by the local wildlife. Identification was nearly impossible, fueling enduring whispers that the master manipulator had faked his own death to escape with his millions. As news of the empty mine and the geologist's suspicious death hit the wires, the Bre-X empire collapsed in a single day. The stock price flatlined, vaporizing billions of dollars and leaving thousands of investors with nothing but worthless paper. David Walsh, the face of the company, retreated to the Bahamas haunted by the ghost of his own ambition. He died of a stroke just 2 years later, bankrupt and broken. A man who once touched the sun, only to fall. John Felderhoff retreated to a private estate, shielded by legal teams and the remnants of his wealth. After a grueling 9-year legal battle, he was eventually acquitted of insider trading, though his reputation remained forever tarnished by the scandal. The Busang site returned to the quiet of the jungle, the rusted machinery and abandoned camps serving as modern ruins. The birds reclaimed the canopy, their songs echoing over the holes where men once sought a fortune that never existed. Part 4. The Lesson. The legacy of Bre-X serves as a chilling, permanent warning for the global financial community. It revealed the terrifying ease with which greed can blind the intellect, allowing a few specks of dust to obscure the vision of the entire world. Today, the story is taught in business schools as the ultimate cautionary tale of too good to be true. It highlights the vital necessity of independent verification and the dangerous fragility of trust in the pursuit of immense, overnight wealth. We live in an era of digital gold and complex algorithms, yet the basic human flaws that fueled the Bre-X disaster remain unchanged. The hunger for the shortcut and the lure of the impossible still pull at the heart of humanity. In the end, the earth holds many secrets, but it rarely yields its treasures without a cost. The lesson of Busang is simple and haunting. When everyone is looking at the gold, no one is looking at the man holding the bag.